Hello, welcome to another weekly video. Um, I'm sorry if any of you follow me and missed, saw that I missed my video last week. I had sort of a family emergency, and so I did not have any videos last week. I do want to pick up this week. I've got a topic today. It's basically I call it how much is too much. After some of the things I went through in my past, and I had a situation with my birth mother this past week that was kind of difficult for me. Um, I really started thinking about how much is too much to go through in a relationship. I talked a little bit, maybe it was a couple weeks ago now, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I talked a little bit about, um, when you should end a relationship with your, well, not necessarily just your family, but with your family, with anybody. I talked about ending relationships. I talked about, you know, um, toxic parents and things like that. But I kind of wanted to go a little bit more into abuse, and if you're in an abusive relationship, it can get kind of confusing about um, how much you should put up with. So that's why I really wanted to talk about how much is too much. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be different for everybody. um, Everybody kind of has a different threshold. Everybody kind of has different um, points that they can tolerate. All I can kind of talk about is it's kind of what I've been through, and what I kind of think maybe too much. So um, I've had a few videos where I talked about my story and stuff like that. I haven't talked too much about my marriage because I think I've had a lot of trouble trying to figure out like how to view things with me and my husband. Um, I grew up in a really um, toxic home. Um, my my biological mother was really angry, and she would get out of control, and she would scream at me. I remember talked a little bit about that. But then when I got married, I got into a relationship that was still, well, it had some abusive issues, but I'd say the dynamic was different than how I grew up. Um, I really felt like, and maybe this isn't true, I don't know, this is just how I felt. I felt like when it was me and my biological mother, I felt like she was more aggressive and more out of control than I was, and I very much felt like the victim. Um, Now, like I'm not saying I never did anything to contribute to what she was doing. I just very much felt like I was constantly, um, I guess, on the run from her, constantly in a position of, well, because she had authority over me, because I lived in her home. It was just um, it was just she felt more of an aggressor to me than when I got married. When I got married, I very much felt like me and my husband were kind of equals in our anger issues. We we both would get angry. Don't get me wrong. There were times where one of us was worse than the other one, as far as if you want to say the aggressor in the conflict. Sometimes one of us was more escalated, but you know, um, typically we were both equally escalated, and um, we would kind of do some things differently. But I really felt like we both had kind of equal anger problems. That's the best way to describe it. And I apologize. I didn't mean to go too much into to um, to my past there, but I really just wanted to give some background because, like, I was just trying to really compare the situations in my mind, although it's not really a fair comparison because it's a parent versus a spouse. But you know, I guess I'd try to say that, like, I've been in um, a couple abusive relationships in my life. I hate to kind of put it that way because I really feel like with me and my husband, it's a little bit more even. But um, I definitely say I was in an abusive relationship with my biological mother, and she was, like I said, she was just very out of control and mean, and um, she was the first one who physically abused me. Um, so there were some really um, extreme moments that happened in my childhood that defined kind of how I guess how I viewed relationships. But anyway, sorry, I try to get back on point here. My point was how much is too much to go through. I went to visit my biological mother the other night, and she, you know, we saw each other for a few days, and the last day I was there, well, I was gonna actually stay with her a little while. It wasn't supposed to be the last day, but um, I guess you could say on the last um, the on one of the days that I was visiting her, she got really upset because I was. Um, I'll try to go into detail with what happened on a different video, maybe a part two or something like that. But um, I'll just try to leave it kind of vague right now. Um, she got angry because I was on the phone with with my husband, and me and my husband had kind of had some problems, and so I think she was maybe more upset about that. But um, so she got angry that I was on the phone, and we tried to talk a little bit. I guess um, she was already kind of upset, so we were already um, like sorry, trying to think the best way to describe it. We were already raising our voices. I guess that's the best. I mean, it wasn't real bad, but I remember, we were already had bad tones, and we were raising our voices, and it wasn't really going well. And I just remember, you know, just basically saying to her, well, if things are going to be like this here, I'm going to have to leave and go back home, and she just said, okay, that's fine. And I mean, we were both upset by this time, but she was just like, okay, um, me and your stepdad will take you back home. Um, so anyway, I started getting ready to go, and she just came in, and she just really started screaming. I can't remember all the details of it, but I remember she just started screaming, um, you know, um, a bunch of you statements. You do this and you do that, and I came back at her, and my voice was raised, and I just said, you're the one that made me this way. I'm kind of just going through it to give you an example of how it was when I was growing up. But she got in my face. She got like very close to my body, and she was screaming and pointing in my face, and I really was just terrified. I thought she was going to hit me, possibly kill me. If you've ever seen the movie Mommy Dearest, um, that part where Joan Crawford, the one that plays the mother, starts like choking her daughter. I really thought that was where it was going. But anyway, she turned around for 1 second, and I was able to call the police, and that only made her more angry. She continued to shout at me while I was on the phone, and I was terrified to even be in the same room with her. So I give that example to try to tell you. Oh, I see I'm going over time. Anyway, I give you that example to try to show what kind of, like, basically what I myself cannot tolerate. That's just something I cannot tolerate. And and I wanted to go into a little bit of what happened with my husband to show you more of what I say I can tolerate, but what I've been able to work through more, versus my my mother's dynamic. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do a part two. And so I thank you for watching and have a nice day.